Welcome back. Among the stocks of the day yesterday was Asian Paints. The top Nifty gainer has actually gained about 40% from its recent lows on improving demand environment, but more importantly, reducing competitive intensity as well, at least as far as the perception is concerned. In an exclusive conversation with CNBC-TV18, the management decoded the events of the last 2 years and more importantly, tells us what the future looks like. Hear it out.
This time was very, very exhilarating because we felt that, there were lots happening in the marketplace. There was lots happening at the competitive ends to that extent, and the market was not very great from a point of view of a demand perspective. So I think there were challenges all across in terms of what came in, and what possibly occupied my attention was that during these times, how do we really navigate the brand and really take it ahead and look at possibly playing to our strengths and really seeing that we are scoring centuries as we kind of do stuff.
All right, and 2 years later, as you stand, consumer sentiment is at the inflection point of improvement. Competitive intensity, while it stays, the disruptor is not the disruptor anymore, is an incumbent. And at the same time, you have a lot of your business excellence, etc., consolidated. So from where we are, how do the next 2 years look to you?
So if you look at even now, while you are seeing some shoots in terms of the demand, we are not seeing that there is belligerence, there is full exhilaration coming into the market to that extent. We feel that today the rural markets are just coming back, even the urban centers are just trying to show some spark. I feel that possibly it will take some time before we really get onto the parameter of really double digits and so on and so forth.
How long will it take?
It's very difficult to say, but I would say that possibly another 2 quarters is something we need to kind of watch out for sure in terms of what we are looking at. So therefore, right now, I think the whole peg is in terms of saying that we continue to grow higher than the market, and that's the pitch in terms of what we would take.
And you haven't been doing so for the last few quarters, and now you're confident of doing that, right?
The first 2 quarters of this year, we have grown higher than the market to that extent. And as you look at the H1, we have grown much higher than the market overall.
So you will continue to gain market share?
That's absolutely.
And that still holds with 18 to 20% margins, because now whatever savings you will get, you will deploy it back towards building the brand, building growth.
Absolutely.
So say high single digit sort of revenue growth, double digit volume growth, and 18 to 20% margins is the new normal for Asian Paints?
So that's the margin guidance which we have always maintained. And I think the great part is that despite all what we have seen in the market, we have kept our head on the shoulders in terms of what we are doing. We've not kind of taken the whole route of discounting or pricing in terms of that, but we've taken the route in terms of building the brand and playing to our strengths.
What are you most proud of over the last 2 years?
I think the fact that we have been able to kind of really build the brand to a new high, and what we have been able to kind of get nuances and being very strongly related with home as a brand which no other brand is. So I would say that Asian Paints' whole attempt to kind of really get into the consumer's mind has been very, very strong, and we think we are appropriating home more than ever before.
What are you most disappointed by over the last 2 years? What is the one thing what do you regret the most over the last 2 years?
I would say that from a point of view of saying that we would have liked to grow much faster. I think that is something which possibly I regret to that extent. I think we could have possibly put more drivers in terms of looking at what we could have driven the market far more strongly. But I think given the circumstances, I would say it has been quite good in terms of what we have performed.
What have you done to ensure that your dealerships stay while within the guardrails of the law?
So we felt that, one of the big things which has held by us is the relationships. It's not only about business, it's not only about margins, it's not about profitability. It's about relationships, it's your personalization, it's your ability to kind of really be empathetic about the business in terms of what you're dealing in. And I think that's something which I have tried, that it's not only me, the face of Asian Paints, but my entire leadership and my people who believe in that relationship very, very strongly. And that is something which I think is the trump card which Asian Paints hold.
And it's not just them, right? It's not just the disruptor. It's also the other incumbents, because everyone who's entering the industry right now, they respect you. Obviously, they say that we want to aim at being the number 2 player in the country. But when everyone is looking at the number 2 place, the number 2 also wants to ensure that they are number 2, and the number 3 also wants to ensure that they are not ceding any ground. So that on the whole becomes like a big pressure cooker situation for the industry. Have you faced that as well?
I think this pressure has always been there. You know, if I look back last 2 decades, it's been always there. Just that today the number of players who are coming and trying to take a dig at it is much more to that extent. And I think that's something which is good because it also, as a leader, keeps us on toes in terms of thinking what is the differential thing in terms of what you are kind of really talking of. And that's why I keep on saying that, you know, we will keep on creating trends. People have to make case studies out of it.
And to the investors, what will you say who've been sitting on 2 years of losses?
I think the investors will see that this is a brand which they will have to watch out for because there are lots of things which are coming, and we think that possibly we have our clear eyes on the stakeholders and we will give them a good return.
All right, a good return for stakeholders. That's the promise coming in from Asian Paints. Amit Syngle, the MD and CEO. You can catch him all day today on CNBC-TV18.